So I've got this Royal Pro Series machine, and ever since I got it, it's got a bit of an annoying problem, and that is how the outer bag actually tries, however pathetic it is, to attach to, well, the rest of the assembly here. It just doesn't really work out very well. So you've got a bunch of these steel twist ties, more or less, like this thick wire. And right around here, this is the way it's come from the factory. I haven't touched it. It looks like they used some type of black electrical tape right here. And that's, well, it's still kind of smooth right here, kind of slippery. Here you've got the fill tube, and then you've got a couple of more of these twisted wire pieces right here, and those are holding the fill tube in pretty well. It can move around a little bit. I'm okay with that. It's not going to pop off or anything like that. It's held in pretty well. But I've tried several occasions to use the little twist tie here to hold this bag material, and it just doesn't want to do it. It doesn't make any difference what I do. And yeah, I go ahead and this is, come off again, obviously. I have, tucked it under so it looks nice, and you grab it from the underside, and it keeps slipping right out again. And it's because the bag material here, there's nothing wrong with it, is very, very smooth. And it's somewhat slippery. And then what's right here underneath the tie is also very smooth and slippery. Even though it's electrical tape, this is smooth and slippery. So guess what? I've come up with a couple of ideas, and we're going to try some things. I might try to put a little bit of masking tape around here to give it a little bit of grip. So when I squeeze this down back on to this particular piece here, it holds the fabric in. And then also I have more electrical tape, which is probably an exercise in frustration. And then I have this material right here, which is actually sticky and grippy on both sides. And this, I'm going to cut off a little slice of it and put it maybe right here. And this is something that you use to, say, open a jar or some kind of stuck lid, and it's very, very grippy. In fact, I can use this to help me release this particular collar because it's hard. Everything is so shiny and so new, it's hard to twist this. But I might take I don't know, maybe a ½ inch or so cut of this, put it around here, and then crimp this on there. One way or another, this can't be crimped onto something slippery, and inevitably, this just doesn't work very well. So the machine essentially works just fine, but this whole mechanism right here and the way that it attaches, on a $500 vacuum, it really is surprisingly unacceptable. So I'm going to try a whole bunch of different things and maybe even some twist ties, and then I'm going to get back to you on what works, and I'll show you what I did. But I have high hopes maybe for this stuff, but we'll see what happens. All right, I think I have a solution, or at least we'll call it maybe part one or trial number one solution. So I unwound the black electrical tape that was wound around right in here. Took that out. I still think that's kind of strange. Obviously, one side is smooth and one side is sticky. Get rid of that. And I decided to try the zip tie method first. So I took off this metal twist tie and wrap the bag around, obviously with everything, turned inside out, the locking collar and its little internal fill tube, and the other fill tube, obviously, that goes where the bag connects to. This is free to move, and I'm okay with that. That actually doesn't affect anything negatively. But I've used this twist tie to come right in between the locking collar and the end of the fill tube itself. and I put that in tight, and the effect that I was looking for is that this locking part right here stays fixed to the bag. Before, the bag was sliding, up and down and all the way around, and this locking collar was staying locked to the vacuum itself. The problem was these two would go independently of one another, and then eventually this whole part pulled out. So this right now appears to be in pretty good shape. I've run the machine for a few minutes, so you can see how tightly I've gotten it in there. And obviously, this grabs a much wider piece of fabric than this little skinny twist tie would. So I don't think the fabric is going to submarine itself back underneath the twist tie, or at least it hasn't yet. So I'm going to try this, and I will let you know if that holds. Because the problem is the bag would just end up twisting all over the place and then eventually kind of separate. And that just was essentially no fun. This right now appears to be a good alignment. Notice that I have the zipper with this inside part of the locking tab, and that seems to keep everything aligned perfectly, at least for now. All right, let's get this royal back together again, and let's remember to keep this part of the zipper lined up with this locking tab at this particular point. Not the opening, but rather right where it locks. That seems to be a really good alignment. Okay, let's see how the zipper works. Make sure that it doesn't snag anything. And that's good. Eventually here. Come on. There we go. Okay, that's decent. All right. The main thing is I don't want the collar to move independently of the bag itself. That's where the problem lies. See, we're hooked top and bottom, I think. There. Wonderful. Let me clip the top of the bag, and then we'll give it a little test run. And we will see how well that front alignment holds up. I want this little plastic guard to stay perfectly in line with the machine right here. I don't want this to be twisting around, and I definitely don't want this bottom part of the outer bag to separate, because that's what was happening before, and it was really driving me nuts. Let's run this royal a little bit, graciously donated by one Rapidly Aging Technology. Check out his YouTube channel if you haven't. Pay particular attention to right here, right in here, that this doesn't twist or pop off. seems to be okay. So the Royal, the front part of the bag, is still in the front. It hasn't twisted one way or another, and the bag has not separated from the collar. So far so good, but I'll let you know if anything changes. So thanks for watching my little Royal tweak.